Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so happy that you're here today with me. Today I'm going to be talking about a few projects that I've been working on. I have 2 finished projects and 2 whips. 2 of the whips are year-long projects. I just recently showed you guys the start of these year-long projects, but since then I've had February's update, and I'm going to be showing you February's clue. So this might be a little bit long. I do have some stitches as well to show at the end of this video, and for a few of the different projects. And so grab something to drink and sit down and spend some time with me. I would love to share all this with you, and looking forward to catching up with you guys. The first thing I'm going to share with you is a finished project. I recently just showed you the beginning of this. Well, it was about midway done, I think. This is the Cabled Trellis Shawl, and this is by Stephen West. The pattern is by Stephen West, and the yarn that I use, excuse me for flipping my notes, I want to make sure I get this correct. The yarn for this project was provided in a kit that I purchased from Stephen and Penelope, which is Stephen West's yarn store out of Amsterdam, and it had 3 skeins of colored yarn, which was this Dream State Spin Cycle yarn. I had this skein that was, the colors that I got were, let's see, now this is a DK weight yarn. It's 100% wool. It looks a little bit like this. It's got a little bit of a marled effect. This is the purple that I used. This is what all the yarn that I had left over. I used the other 2 skeins completely up. I think this is maybe 2 grams. This color is called, I believe Overshadow. That's what it looks like. Again, this is 100% American wool, 150 yards per skein. And it is a worsted weight yarn. The second skein I used in my shawl that I'm going to be showing you is called Rosy Maple. It was kind of an orangey, purpley skein. And then the last skein is more red, kind of dark wine, and it was called Nostalgia. So those are the 3 colors I have in my yarn. And the gray that I used is West Wool Tandem yarn, which is a DK weight, 100% wool out of Amsterdam, and this is called, the color is called Grejavik. And I had 2 skeins of this, and this yarn is DK weight, 250 yards per skein, so 500 yards of a DK weight. Now this is what my shawl ended up looking like. I'm hoping you can see it with me sitting back. I will insert a picture with it being blocked so you can see it in its entirety. I don't think you can see it in its entirety here, but you can see how it started with the purple. It has it started with an I-cord cast on. I showed that in my last video. And then it goes into the cabling. These cables, I showed how to do these cable stitches in my last video as well. And then you get into a little bit bigger cabling, but none of this is complicated cabling at all. And then what I'm going to show you here is how this ending works. Now this looks a little bit like a picot, but it's not. You took the same color. It's basically was supposed to be, you ended with 2 stitches, and I put a lifeline in right there. I wasn't sure that I was going to have enough. I knew I wasn't going to have enough yarn of the gray to finish it out. You had to do this amount, do a yarn over and stuff, and then you had to do this amount. This is just folded over right where you had the yarn overs, and that's why it makes that look it looks like a picot, but it's not. It's just the yarn overs going in and making this design, and some of them I pulled a little bit more when I was blocking. What I did, because I didn't have enough yarn to finish it, it should be gray on both sides, but I ran out of yarn right kind of in the middle where I had to fold it. So I ended up using the last of my color 3, which is Nostalgia, and I had enough yarn to finish it out, but I did not have enough yarn to block it. So what I had to do, I had to try to figure out what I was going to do, and I ended up finding this yarn. You can see it's a little bit brighter right here on this edge, and this is a fingering weight yarn. I think it's Plucky Knitter, and it's in Athos, that's the color. I think it's Plucky Knitter, Plucky Feet, the color was pretty close, so that's why I ended up binding off with it, and I just had to use it for the bind off. I think, let's see. Yeah, you can see I had enough of the main yarn to go from here all the way to, you can see where the color change happened right there. You can see, but it is on the back side, so I thought, well, it's close, so it doesn't really draw that much attention to it, and it is on the wrong side, so that's why I did it that way, and I wanted to share that. And I'm going to on this edging, one of the things you had to do to make this fold over, you folded it over and you ended up having to pick up stitches from the wrong side and knit it with live stitches and to bind it off. And I have a short video that shows how that is done. I will show that at the end of this video when I get to the stitches section. But anyway, this is one of my whips for this week. I'm so happy about it. So happy that I was able to knit this and finish it. And this was a very, very easy knitting. This was part of his Hybrid Knit Along 2 this year, which has a bunch of different patterns in it. But this was one of the patterns in there, and I was so happy that I was able to participate in it and knit it. And now I have a beautiful new shawl. Nice wool shawl, very colorful. So that's my first finished object to share with you guys. My next item to share with you guys is a whip. This is the 2022 Year of Shetland Lace project. This is by Tony Lorenz, and this is February's clue. Last time I showed you this, we had stopped like right here. That was where January was. It was the cat's paw lace and the cat's paw lace edging, and then now this is where we pick up for February, and we've got 2 different lace motifs shown in here. You actually have an old shell. This is all based on Shetland lace, and I'm going to try to find a picture and insert it here for the side so you guys can see in comparison. Again, the first one's cat's paw, that one right there. And then this one is old shell lace with beads added. And then this one is the rosebud lace and rosebud variation. It's a rosebud cluster, which is this. And then the rosebud variation, which is this. And then this is what it's looking like so far. And this yarn is Manastel Uruguay Fino yarn, and Corsage is the colorway. And these are amethyst gold luster beads, Miyake gold seed beads, size 6/0. All the information detailed on my project page and Ravelry will be linked below. But this is the update for February. The next clue I'll get in March, and I'll give you guys, knit it up and give you guys an update for March. But I think this is going to be fun because we're going to be seeing different variations of Shetland lace, and I'm hoping to find it in this book here. I have this book, The Magic of Shetland Lace Knitting. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Like a cat's paw. I know it has a lot of the different stitches in here. Here's the cat's paws lace, which looks really similar to this edging here on the bottom, which is what that was. Okay, the next project I want to update you guys on is the 2022 Year of Delicate Lace project by Elizabeth Ravenwood. Alright, now this is February's clue. I started with, you know, this end. The other one is for December. And it has the lace with the beads. And then it has the feather and fan with the beads. And then we had the interlude, which is the 3x3 stitch, transition stitch with beads. And then now this is the open wide diamonds stitch. You see what it looks like. Now this knitting is this pattern's a little more complicated than last month's because there was knitting. The pattern was knitted on both sides. So what that means is that the wrong side row wasn't purled or wasn't just an easy type of knitting. It had some complicated stitches on this wrong side as well as the right side. There were some new stitches for this. I'm going to show you how to do the 3x3 stitch with the bead. I'm going to show you how to do a stitch called a P2SP, a PSP, a KPK, and a PKP at the end of this video. Those stitches will go with this and this project here. The yarn used for that project for the 2022 Year of Delicate Lace is a Madeline Tosh Mo Light, which is a mix of merino wool and mohair, kid mohair, and it's very soft and a little fuzzy and very nice to work with. I've never worked with it before and I'm enjoying it. It is a little sticky if you have to undo a row, but it's not like mohair, pure mohair, where it completely sticks to itself if you have to undo it. Now I have 3 items to share with you guys from you. 3 items, 3 different people, 3 of you guys sent me some items to share here, and I want to share them now. The first one is a beautiful blanket called Mariel's Baby Blanket. This was knitted by Tony Christensen. The blanket that Tony shared with us is knit with Lion Brand Cotton Candy Blend yarn, and the pattern he used is Mariana's Lazy Daisy Days Wave of Lights Baby Blanket. And I think it turned out really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Tony. I really appreciate it, and it's really, really beautiful, and I'm sure it will be treasured. The next item I have to share with you guys is from Dorit Pinto. Dorit is from Israel. Dorit won some Turtle Purl self-striping sock yarn from me in one of my live shows, and she made socks with them. I want to share this with you guys because I know that sometimes it's fun to see the yarn, what the yarn becomes. She made these beautiful socks, and I think she did such a gorgeous job. I love how she did the cabling up the side. They look really beautiful, Dorit. Thank you so much for sharing them with us and letting us see what how the turtle purl yarn works up. It's beautiful, really beautiful. And the last item, the last person to share with us is Verna Bradshaw. She is using some Hobie cotton twister yarn. I can't remember the name of the colorway, but it's a pink to a blue, and then she's using a shawl pattern that she actually won from Miss Linda Simpson and made this beautiful shawl that I'm sharing here. It's gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, Verna, letting us see how that gorgeous twister yarn can work up into a shawl. It's really, really stunning, and I'm sure that you're enjoying wearing it right now in the cooler weather. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm closing up the cable trellis shawl, and you have to pick up a stitch on the wrong side of your work, and I have a lifeline put in here, so I'm picking the row I'm supposed to pick up on is right below my lifeline, and I am picking those up with a DPN so that I can move along a little bit easier. And this is folded over, as you can see, and I'm closing this off, binding this off. The way that this works is you have to combine one of these stitches with one of the picked up stitches from row 1, and you're ended up you're folding this over, and it makes this little picot edge. And I kind of like how you can see the red at the bottom of it. I really do. I think it looks kind of nice. So basically you knit the next stitch on your needle with one of these picked up stitches, and you'll see in a second why I picked them up to make this go faster. You do this like this, knit those 2 stitches together like that, then you pass the stitch over like that, and that's how you do it. Again, you take a stitch from 10 rows down on the back side and knit it with the next stitch on your knitting needle like that. Then you pass this stitch over the stitch you just knit to bind it off. And you can see what it makes. Here, give me 1 second. I'll put this on here. You can see how it closes it up. It makes that nice edge there. And then again, this is folded over. And you can see that's my lifeline. And I'm leaving that in because it's helping me to know the next row below that was my 10 rows back. So I'm trying to go right in there below this lifeline, and then I'll take it back. I wasn't sure. I knew my yarn was going to be short, so I wasn't sure which yarn I was going to use after the gray. I knew I didn't have enough gray to do both sides, and I ended up using this last yarn that I had to finish this out. I'm going to run out of it in the bind off, but I have another yarn I'm going to use to finish it off. Okay, I'm going to do a stitch that's in this delicate lace stole. This is called the P2SP. Before the stitch is a yarn over. I am on the wrong side. You're going to purl the next 2 stitches together. Here, let me make sure you can see this closer. Purl the next 2 stitches together. Then you're going to slip the next stitch knitwise. Then you're going to take both of those stitches back to your left hand needle, and then you're going to pass the slip stitch over and off the right hand needle over your purl 2 together. Then you're going to take that stitch, this purl 2 together stitch with a slip stitch passed over and off it, and put it back on the right hand needle. And that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. And you have to put a bead on this stitch too. So that's what the stitch looks like with the bead on it. This is what it's going to look like on the right side. To do the 3x3 stitch, you're going to you do this with the next 3 stitches on your left hand needle. You will insert your right hand needle into all 3 stitches, knit them together. Do not pull the stitch off all the stitches off the left hand needle. Do a yarn over and then put your needle back in and knit those 3 stitches together again. You'll have essentially it's 3 stitches into 3 stitches, so there's no increase, but you'll have this beautiful fan shape design. And on the wrong side, I'll show you here in a minute how you're going to bead the middle stitch. But again, it's knit the 3 stitches together, yarn over, and knit. That's the right side. Now for the wrong side of the 3x3 stitch, the first stitch you're going to purl that first stitch through the back loop. Then you're going to purl the second stitch regularly, and on that second stitch you will bead it after you've purled it using your crochet hook. And then the third stitch of your 3x3 stitch you're going to purl regularly. So it's purl through the back loop, purl, and bead, and purl. And that's how it looks. To show it again, the first stitch you're going to purl through the back loop, just like that. The second stitch you're going to purl regularly, and then bead it, and then you're going to purl the third stitch regularly. I had to go back here and bead that second stitch because I didn't do it right after I purled it. You put your bead on with a crochet hook. And then this is what it looks like on the wrong side. That's what it looks like on the right side. You can see the fan design on the right side, how pretty that is and decorative and then with the bead added. Looks really nice. And that's what the design is looking like on the right side with the beads. And there's the other one, the other interlude that's done down between clues 1 and 2. This stitch is the knit, purl, knit stitch. You're going to knit, purl, knit, all in the same stitch, where the one stitch will become 3 stitches. The drill. It's time for you guys to share with me, give me an update. I know we kind of just recently did this, but give me another update on what you guys are working on. I think the next video, since this is getting kind of long, I will share this. This is a test knit that I did over the break. It is a jacket. It looks like a shawl, but it actually has sleeves, and I'll pull it out and put it on. The pattern is not going to be released yet, so I think that's why I'll wait and share it closer to the date that the pattern will be released. It's supposed to be released on the 22nd of February, in Ravelry, and then you guys can buy the pattern and make it yourself, and I highly recommend it. And I'll go into more detail when I talk about it, but I was going to share that today, but I think I'll wait. So I think that's all I have to share today. Just updates on the projects I've already shared with you guys. I am currently getting started on quite a few things. I'm going to be working on quite a few blankets this year, and I'm going to be working on some sweaters. I have yarn. I have some yarn acquisitions I'm going to be sharing with you guys, so you'll see bigger quantities of yarn for sweaters and blankets. And I'm also going to be working on some socks as well. I'm trying to work on things. I mean, I still love the shawls. I'll still be making the shawls, but I'm trying to work on a little bit more wearables. You know, you can only wear so many shawls. Maybe I can make some jackets, make some tops, make some socks, and make some stuff for my husband as well. So that's what you'll be seeing here on my channel. I will share stitches and tutorials as much as I can. Anyway, thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I know that this video is a little bit longer than what I normally do. I apologize. Just trying to get caught up from being off, and Thank you guys so much. I hope you're all doing very, very well, and I hope I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.